Hey, welcome back to the Crypto in Real Life podcast. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin's history from the beginning, which is 2009, till today. And we'd also like to discuss some of news that's out and some things that have happened this week related to crypto and just interesting things that have happened. Again, my name is Calvin, and
And I'm Clint.
yep, we decided to show our faces this time, so it should be interesting. I believe this will be the first time that I've shown my face on TikTok and all that stuff. Um, so before we get into that, I want to go over some of the interesting news of the week. So let me go to the next slide here. Robinhood added four new tokens to their cryptos that they have. They have Bitcoin already, and Bitcoin SV, and Bitcoin Cash, and Ethereum, and other ones. But they added Shiba Inu, Solana, Polygon, Matic, and Compound. And they've also. When did your wallet open up on Robinhood?
Um, it was a couple weeks ago, I think. Um, yeah, I think I signed up for like a wait list or something a while back.
Yeah, I signed up for a waitlist too. Mine opened up a few weeks ago, and I was able to move. Um, I had some Dogecoin and Coinbase, and I moved it over just to test it, and it worked perfectly. Um,
Yeah, I'm super excited that that's up and running. Makes having a wallet and dealing with cryptocurrencies just way easier.
Well, also, it gets rid of that worry. A lot of people were thinking Robinhood was a scam and they weren't actually buying the crypto. This proves that they are buying the crypto and putting it into their storage. So, because otherwise you couldn't move stuff around.
Right, right.
So they're an actual. I guess they're a crypto bank like Coinbase is now. So that's good. I think you can move it with Cash App, and the only one I know of that you can't move is like PayPal and Venmo. You still can't move that around. But anyways,
Okay.
Shiba Inu, when it dropped, it of course it popped about 20% the day it dropped because everybody said, "Oh, it's on Robinhood now. We should buy it because more people will buy it."
Right.
So it
It
went up.
happens every time.
So it went up 20%, and I don't know. I'm glad Solana's on there. The main reason why because I buy it currently, and I can do the daily investments in it. If you do daily investments on Coinbase, it's like you have to pay like $1 every single time just for the fee, like 50 cents to $1, which is kind of
Every
ridiculous.
transaction.
Every time you do it, if you do the daily investments, regardless, every single time.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a perk for using Robinhood.
Yeah, I agree with you. So now you can get Solana every day. Don't have to pay the fees, which is awesome. Polygon Matic, I don't really have a big opinion on it. I've heard it's really good. It like branches out into Ethereum, so it's like a chain that helps the Ethereum chain with some of the TPS transactions per second load. I'm not really sure, but I've heard it's actually a pretty good one. And Compound, I've heard it's not that good because it inflates a lot, and also I don't know. I just heard it's not that good. I'm not really sure though. I'm not that real red on it, but I've heard Polygon's good. I don't know if you've heard of those before.
I haven't even heard of either of them. I've heard of Shiba Inu and Solana.
Shiba Inu is like it's basically a ripoff of a meme coin. It's I don't know. You could buy
Yeah,
Doge or you could buy the ripoff of Doge. It's strange to me. Okay, so the next thing that was crazy that happened this week was Elon Musk a couple weeks ago, or like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I don't know exactly when. He bought 10% of Twitter, which was kind of a big deal. So of course it went up a lot, and everybody was like freaking out about it. And people bought it just because hey, Elon's buying it, so I might as well hop on the train. And it went up a bunch. But then the other day, on I believe it was Thursday of this week, Elon offered to buy all of Twitter and actually submitted a SEC filing um, to the SEC to offer $54, which was like I think 15% higher than the price was at that point, to purchase every single share of Twitter.
how um st- do you know like how standard an offer is, like, in general? Like, it was that a reasonable offer?
Um, I thought it was. Well, Twitter's share price has been up to $70. Like, if we take a look at the share price for Twitter, look it up real quick. If we take a look at it, it's at 45 right now. But for the past, yeah, it was all the way up at about 70 about a year ago. So in some ways it's reasonable, in some ways it's not reasonable, because the 52-week high is $73. So you could argue it's a low ball offer, but as of lately, I would say that's a pretty good offer. I think it's pretty standard that you offer a price that's at least at a premium. You don't offer literally what it's at that moment if you're going to buy the whole company. Like that's when mergers happen, or different companies buy other companies. They pay a premium over what the price is at that point to get all the shares.
Yeah.
So I would say, I guess it's pretty standard, but I don't know if it makes sense for Twitter to sell for that price, because I think they believe they're worth more than that.
Right. I guess what I'm curious is how often do in these like acquisitions, do they use kind of the historical value of a stock or the current value to, base their offer on, I guess.
I mean,
Because it
I
seems
think
like he's doing it based on the current value.
I would think the current value, because you could argue that's not the price now. I mean, that could have been a fluke.
Yeah, I mean, fair argument.
I mean, if I was a Twitter shareholder, I like Elon, so I think it'd be cool if he did buy it from it. But I don't really know what their goals are, so it seems kind of ridiculous that he was trying to do that. But he's definitely fucking with the stock price, that's for sure. Because after he bought it, it made it go up a lot, so I'm sure they're happy about that. But this seems like, so this is what was interesting. He didn't think the board was helpful. He apparently went to some board meeting and it didn't go well, and that's what he claims. So he made this huge offer to buy it.
Well,
And,
also,
yeah, go ahead.
if he was on the board, he would be capped at, I think it was 15% ownership.
Right. Yeah. So he realized he wasn't going to be able to get his way with that. And the one thing that's interesting, he said if he's denied, he will reconsider his 10% stake. So to me, the game theory is if they don't go through with it, and I've already heard they've declined it now, then that means Elon's going to sell his shit. Twitter's going to plummet.
Right.
I think it goes back to what it was before he bought, which is in the 30 range. But I think it's all kind of crazy. But
it could go even lower, at least temporarily.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch it for sure. Dogecoin also pumped and dumped. As I put a little graph in there, it shot up to about 16 something cents, 16 and a half cents, and it shot right back down and doing his normal thing. He's just fucking with that too. Basically, Dogecoin is a store of value of crazy shit Elon Musk does.
Yeah,
pretty much.
It's his it's the price of his Twitter profile. It's his shitpost stock.
Although he did post a picture today, I just noticed. I was happened to be on. He posted a picture of a Shiba Inu, the Dogecoin guy dog, in like this silly costume. And I was like, I wonder if the price went up. Nope. But it used to. Anytime he would mention Shiba Inus,
surprised it didn't.
Yeah, anytime he would do that, it would pump. So I think people are finally learning.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's about it for that. The next thing I noticed, Janet Yellen, the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, U.S. Treasurer, whatever you call her, explicitly talks about Bitcoin in a speech. This was at the business school of American University, which is in Washington, D.C. And she's talking about crypto assets and its importance. I'm just going to play the clip real quick. It's just a minute.
In 2008, a person or group of people using the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto proposed a decentralized peer-to-peer system for making and processing payments. A key challenge in digital payments is to prevent the same assets from being spent twice. The Bitcoin white paper proposed a novel method for validating transactions using cryptography that addressed the so-called double spend problem. This and other innovations related to distributed ledger technology are the foundation for blockchain-based digital assets.
I feel like that, whenever I watch that, it seems like I never would have ever thought that the U.S. Department of Treasury would be talking about Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin. And, like, this is some real shit, guys. I just think it's hilarious. I never would have... Back when I heard about it in 2013, I never would have dreamed that it would have actually gotten to that point. Gotten to this
Yeah,
point,
I remember we talked about the possibility of, it getting this far, but,
it was always like a pipe dream.
Yeah, it was a pipe dream.
And it's blowing my mind. I mean, and she talks about lots of other things in her speech. She talks about central bank, digital backed currencies. That's the hot topic. She talks about stable coins and Ethereum, a lot of different things. But I thought it was kind of cool that she talked to like the history of Bitcoin. This mysterious person created this thing. We don't know who it is.
So she did like a whole speech on cryptocurrency in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Biden has made an executive order to basically figure out crypto digital assets because it's a big deal. We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Oh, okay. So this was kind of like an educational type thing.
Yeah, she used to be very anti-crypto, but I think she's turning around because they realize they have to get a hold of it. The person who's really against crypto is Elizabeth Warren.
Mm-hmm.
She's super against it, but who knows? Anyways, I thought that was interesting. Okay, so that's kind of the news that happened this week. So now we can go into our main topic, which is talking about the history of Bitcoin and why it was created and just kind of interesting facts that have happened along the way from 2009. So it was released on January 2009 in response to the financial crisis of 2008. That's a little bit of a speculation. I don't know that for a fact, but I do know that the financial crisis was a big deal because you remember all that money being printed to bail out banks and all that, the liquidity issues that happened from that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there was some influence there.
Right. Inflation was a big hot topic, and that was one of the key things. And the paper was limited supply and so on and so forth. And we know this Satoshi Nakamoto is the creator's name. It's widely known that that's not the person's actual name, and it could be a group of people that actually did it. And Bitcoin uses proof of work and many of the techniques that were created from Hashcash and DigiCash. We talked about that last week a lot, but not really. That's just the creation of it. Not too much exciting there. Most people probably already know all that. Uses of Bitcoin in the early days. I found this interesting. I found in October of 2009, 1,006 Bitcoins were sold for $1, about a tenth of a cent per Bitcoin on the first Bitcoin exchange, New Liberty Standard.
So do we know who bought this?
No, that was the rate. They would sell 1,006 Bitcoins for $1.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
Anybody could have went on there and did it, and basically you give them $1, and then they send you that 1,006 Bitcoins to your wallet address. That was very old school back then. It was the first exchange. It wasn't easy. It was kind of annoying.
Okay.
Yeah. And then in 2010, 15 months later, after the creation of Bitcoin, someone purchased 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin. Now you could do some math there. That 2 pizzas, what were maybe $20 back then, maybe.
So wait, was this like the first purchase?
This is the first like recorded purchase. There could have been other ones, but this is one of the first. It's a big. Somebody like went onto a forum, a Bitcoin forum, and said, "Hey, can y'all order me 2 pizzas and I'll send you 10,000 Bitcoin? So they went on with their credit card and put his address in and everything for him and paid for it.
Okay, so it's like an informal transaction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but so I would say I was probably $20 or something like that for 10,000 Bitcoin, we'll say. So that means it was what? That was what's 20 divided by 10,000? That would be 2 divided by 1,000. That'd be about 0.2 cents.
0.002.
Yes, that'd be 0.2 cents. 0.2 cents, not quite a penny.
Right.
So it was it was about double the value of what they were selling for right here. I guess he made some money then. He was probably mining it though, I'm sure.
How'd you get this idea to trade Bitcoin for pizza?
I just honestly thought it would be really cool if I could say, hey, I just traded this, open source internet money for a real world good. And I thought, what better thing than food? Food is a basic necessity. And, pizza, every geek understands pizza.
So how did you actually buy a pizza?
I just posted on the forum. I said, if anybody's interested, I'm offering 10,000 Bitcoins in exchange for some pizza. And somebody there said, hey, I'll take you up on that offer. So I sent him the 10,000 Bitcoin. I said, okay, here it is. I'm waiting for my pizza. And, he phoned it in. He paid with his credit card, and the pizza showed up at my door. Here you can see the original pizzas, and that's my daughter's hand. She was a year old.
Wow. So you paid 10,000 Bitcoins for one pizza?
He's like, you're an idiot.
Pizzas, actually.
2 pizzas.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
2
maybe
pizzas,
the
okay.
person spent $30, $40, something like that.
Okay, $40.
What would it be worth today?
Okay, that makes it better.
It's a little better.
$80 million,
Half a
I don't
cent.
know.
$80 million.
A lot. People laugh at that, but at the time it wasn't worth anything.
Right. Is it true some people celebrate the anniversary of the day you bought the pizza?
Yeah, May 22nd, Bitcoin Pizza Day. So
It's called Bitcoin Pizza Day?
it is.
Raise your pizza. Raise your pizza. Raise your pizza. Toast to the one and only Laszlo. Thanks for being here and coming, and thanks for inspiring international Bitcoin.
I don't know, man. I'd be pissed if they did that. I'm like, fuck you. I'm assuming he still has a bunch of Bitcoin, though. He might be really rich.
I hope he does.
God dang, if he doesn't. Ugh. Little did he know, that's kind of the story I wanted to talk about, is back then the thinking was it was going to be a currency. It's not really a currency anymore. It's something different.
Digital energy.
It's a store of value. Black markets also flourished under Bitcoin at Bitcoin's beginning. That was another big thing that happened when Bitcoin was trying to get a price. People actually thought that buying and selling Bitcoin to each other, sending it to each wallets, was totally anonymous. It's actually not. It's pseudonymous. You don't know the wallet addresses, but if you know the wallet address belongs to this person, you know exactly where all the transactions have gone to and from. So a lot of people didn't understand that back then. So they thought it was totally anonymous because they didn't realize it was a public ledger. And I think if you thought that, you'd think, "Dang, this is like the best thing ever for illegal stuff,"
Right.
Anyways, the Silk Road began in February 2011. That was a website that was created to sell like drugs and different things like that, different bad things. It started at about 30 cents is where it was at in February 2011, a Bitcoin, and it went to about $100 when it was shut down in May 2013. So even though it was illegal and it did a lot of illegal stuff, that marketplace helped to set the price for Bitcoin. It helped it gain traction and gain some validity in the marketplace, even though it was totally illegal. And they got shut down. The guy got thrown in prison, which is terrible. But it kind of helped set the price back then. You know what I mean? It showed that it was a thing. So kind of interesting, sort of a big deal back then. Mt. Gox is an exchange that was created back in 2010 in Tokyo, Japan. It was one of the biggest exchanges at the time. and they actually shut down in February 2014 due to technical issues. But I don't know if these were actually technical issues. Basically, a lot of people's Bitcoins got just stolen, and like it was really bad, and people lost a lot of money from that. And it was sort of a lesson, I guess. But
Like how much money was stolen?
millions of dollars worth.
Wow.
Yeah, millions of dollars of Bitcoin was stolen.
Right, right.
So that was when it was being custodialized on Mount Gox, which was the idea. But the Winklevoss twins, with these guys, it's kind of widely known that they're billionaires in the Bitcoin community. They got their first Bitcoin from Mount Gox.
Are they the Facebook people, or am I wrong on that?
No, that's right.
Okay. Okay.
That's why I think it's kind of worth noting. I heard in an interview they actually purchased most of their Bitcoin at the beginning from Mt. Gox, and they got it off the exchange before it went down. So they got it to a cold wallet, you know what I mean? So they didn't lose their Bitcoin or whatever. I think they're interesting because I feel like Facebook's super centralized and they kind of lost out in that Facebook battle. But now they're big billionaires for buying Bitcoin, which is a totally decentralized thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
It's kind of a fuck you kind of thing to Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
I guess.
I think they were pretty rich to begin with, though.
Well, they were multi-millionaires, but they weren't billionaires. Now they're like multi-billionaires. I think they got like $10 billion or something like that. And most of it's Bitcoin. They bought a shit ton back in early on. They actually run their own exchange now too, called Gemini. But I believe this and other like exchange mishaps. Like there's been other exchanges that have had bad stuff that has happened. I think it's why many people in the Bitcoin community and crypto community in general like recommend self custody of your Bitcoin or use cold storage, taking your Bitcoin offline. I think that's why people still have that mentality, like you need to take it off your exchange and keep it on some desktop somewhere. You know what I mean, and like make it real safe or whatever. Although in your case that did not work out well because you lost yours. So
right, well, I mean that was due to a mishap, but
that's the thing. That's what happens. That's what I like exchanges actually. The ones I can trust. Like I trust Robinhood. I trust Coinbase. They're not. They're freaking regulated at this point.
Yeah.
This is not Mt. Gox back in 2014. So I feel like the people who are still crazy about it, I feel like they're kind of like people who say put your money under your mattress or put your gold under your mattress or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
They're kind of, I don't know. I think it's a little old school at this point. But like I said, Coinbase and other legitimate exchanges started later on, but these lessons, I guess, needed to be learned that you can't trust every exchange and need to use due diligence.
Like if Robinhood and Coinbase, if people lost a ton of money on that, then I would be on their side then, but I doubt that would happen.
Yeah, I guess a lot of these people have been bit in the ass.
Yeah.
They might have lost money. So I mean, if that had happened to me, I probably would be the same way. I trust Robinhood though, and I trust Coinbase. I just do. So I'm not that concerned about it. And I don't. Are you familiar with hard forks and soft forks in Bitcoin?
I've heard the term before, but I don't really know what it means.
Okay, so hard forks are when a cryptocurrency decides to the community, I guess everybody at large decides that they want to change the core of what the network represents. And when that happens, it forks into a totally different cryptocurrency at that point. It's not on the same network at all. Totally different network. There's also soft forks.
You mean like a fork in like the code? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes. The code totally changes, and they've turned two different networks. Ethereum did it. There's Ethereum still, which is the original. Well, it's not the original network. It's actually a change, but it's still the network's original creator still behind it. There's also Ethereum Classic. They changed because of an issue, and they wanted to keep believing in the old way and the new way wanted to do a different thing. So when that happens, they just totally change. They didn't want to go to proof of stake. Ethereum Classic wanted to stay at proof of work. So they totally split, and they have two different things. And this is what happened with Bitcoin back in 2017 when Bitcoin forked into Bitcoin Cash. Have you seen all those different Bitcoins, like Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin?
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's what this is. Those are those hard forks.
Okay.
So in August 2017, the one specifically I want to talk about is Bitcoin Cash. It occurred because a group of the people, Bitcoin people, wanted to increase the block size to increase the transaction per second from 7 to hundreds. Because right now the base layer of Bitcoin can only settle 7 transactions per second. So a lot of times you could be queued up for 10 minutes before it's technically settled. But it doesn't really matter. It'll eventually settle. It also means that the fees were higher because it didn't do as much TPS. Now, the network forked because those who saw Bitcoin as more of a currency and not as a store of value. The store of value people wanted to keep it at Bitcoin, keep Bitcoin the same and not change it, because they looked at it as something, like I said, more of a store of value and not as a currency. So the fact that there were some fees attached to it wasn't a big deal in their mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you're going to go buy a coffee, you don't want to pay $1 fee to send to
Right.
buy a coffee or something. And so what happened was whenever they forked, all the people, say you had 10 Bitcoin at the time, you ended up, when they forked, you kept your 10 Bitcoin and you also got 10 Bitcoin Cash too. So when there is a fork, you get equal amounts in the other network. And then from there, you could say, well, I don't care about this. I'm going to sell all of it. It's trash. Yeah. Or you could buy more of it and screw Bitcoin.
That's a little confusing to me. Okay, so it seems like you're kind of like paying people off almost. I don't. How does that work?
Okay, so if you happen to have 100 Bitcoin, you keep your Bitcoin, and then when it forks, you get the 100 of the same of the other asset. So you get 100 Bitcoin Cash. Now, if you don't believe in Bitcoin Cash, you could sell it immediately to who does believe in it, and you could get rid of it.
What? Okay, I guess what's the value of it when it comes out?
The value is it starts at that same price, but it usually falls. Bitcoin Cash fell immediately when they forked, and Bitcoin kept rising. I'll show you what happened. So if I show you,
I guess what I'm saying, like, couldn't this like artificially, like, inflate? Like, let's say you have a fork in Bitcoin, and then everyone who is on that fork just says, I don't want it, and goes back to Bitcoin, and then now you just like doubled the supply in it. You know what I'm saying? Or does that make sense?
But it's a totally different token. You're not fucking with the Bitcoin network. You're making a whole new network. There is the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash supplies are two totally different things. Totally different.
Okay.
They forked into two different networks at that point.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
They have two different prices, two different exchange rates. It turns into a different current crypto. So in that time, it was roughly $3,000, right? So they forked, and you can see a price drop here, and then it shot up. That was right before the 2017 run. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We were like, what the hell is going on? I can't believe it's going up. Bitcoin Cash. I'll show you what happened to it. See, there was a huge run up when it first came out. And actually, when it first came out, it dropped a ton. And it also, you see that big drop right there? People are like, it was at $700 something, the same price that Bitcoin was at, and then it, boom, dropped. But it
was that
also,
like almost instant?
Right. Because people didn't want it. That most people didn't believe in it. But during the whole mania that happened in 2017, where everybody was buying and buying and buying, Bitcoin Cash also went up a lot. And then it dropped too, along with Bitcoin. And then it leveled out, and it went very, very low, well below what it started out at. and it went up again too back in the 2021 run, but it's dropped a shit ton too. So the value of it has not actually grown. It's still about what it was when it first came out 5 years ago.
See.
So it's not worthless, but it's not something you should invest in my opinion, because people are more behind Bitcoin than Bitcoin Cash. There's more developers. There's more. You can actually. Let me find this really cool. There's this really cool statistic that kind of shows the health of a Bitcoin. Oh, that's not what it is. So I can find it. Wait, I know what it is. Bitcoin distribution. Oh, there's this really cool wallet Bitcoin distribution site that shows how the wallets divide out.
Yeah.
I haven't heard. Oh, this is it. This is it. Okay. So yeah, this shows all the top addresses and all that kind of stuff. And there's also a way to look at Bitcoin. So I can find it. Dang, I can't find it. Oh yeah, here it is. Tweets per day. 120,000 average tweets per day with Bitcoin. Now, if you look at Bitcoin Cash, where's that? There it is. 331.
Wow.
That should tell you where people believe in it, where people don't.
Yeah.
And
it's a good metric.
Yeah, I think it's a great, especially for crypto, it really matters because it's all about adoption. It's all about what people believe in. And tweets per day, Ethereum 44,000. And it almost roughly matches the prices of this stuff, which is kind of weird. That's just happenstance, I think. But and then you look at Ethereum Classic that I mentioned to you. Yeah, 116. So you can see the hard forks. They tend to, people stop caring about them over time. So that's why I don't fuck with forks. But anyways, that's sort of what happened. And then there's been many other ones. Bitcoin Gold was one as well. And its value is so low, and the hash rate, the power to keep the network up, is so low that people have been able to 51% attack the network. That means if you have over 50% hash power on the network, you can attack the network and make changes. The hash power is so low, it's easy for a mining group to take control of the network and do stuff, shady shit to it.
I see.
That's the other problem. Bitcoin Cash's hash rate is not near what Bitcoin is. That's why Bitcoin's more secure. And it's like impossible to hack because the hash rate is so high. And that's why it's never been attacked before, because it's the main one. But Bitcoin Gold, for instance, has been attacked like 3 times this year because of the fact that it's so low, and it's a trash fork too. Again,
Right.
overall, the main Bitcoin network wins due to the brand, due to the integrity and the narrative. Hash power is vastly in Bitcoin's favor. There's another note. This happened in 2014 as well. I can't remember the name of the fork, but I think it was basically known as a scam. And a lot of times people will say, we need to change Bitcoin. We need to change it and fork it into this. And they'll fork it just to try to sell it onto people who they get to buy into it.
Right.
Oh, it's definitely a scam in that way. You could double your
Yeah.
money. Like,
That's what I was kind of trying to say.
the forks are the scams.
Mm-hmm.
They're scammy. So, and the other thing about the fact, I mean, Bitcoin can still be used as a currency now because of the Lightning Network. That was another reason why people were like, hey, we don't need to change it. The Lightning Network is coming. That's a layer above it that makes you can still use it as a currency if you really want to. You know what I mean? because there's no
Yeah.
fees with Lightning at all. So a lot of people were against it. That was that's some history to think about. So when I first heard there was forks, I was like, what? And I remember thinking, what the hell is Bitcoin Cash? What the fuck is all this? So I had to understand
Yeah.
all of it. Well, now that I understand it all and understand the history of it, I feel more security in buying Bitcoin, and I understand it better. There are reasons to it. There is some shady stuff going on with it, though, for sure. There hasn't been a fork, I don't think, since 2017. Also, the same year Bitcoin Cash forked from Bitcoin, there was another fork of Bitcoin Cash called Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision. So Bitcoin Cash even had a fork.
Sporks within forks.
It's ridiculous. So basically, the lesson here is don't fuck with forks. They're dumb. At least in my opinion.
For now.
I think they're dumb. If you want to make a big change like that, just start a new cryptocurrency and copy the technology and do it that way.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably the best way to go about it.
It's dumb. Okay, China banned crypto in September of 2021. They banned it entirely. It was totally banned off the network. I wanted to bring this up because we're talking about hash power and how important that is. It was huge because 65% of that power was in China. So if you hear that 65% of the power is going to go away, a lot of people were kind of worried that Bitcoin was going to be hacked for a little bit of time there, because a lot of that power was lost. You know what I mean? So it means that if 65% of the power goes away, there's only 35% of that power to contend with. And if you're able to get enough miners onto the network, you could potentially hack the network. Does that make sense?
Right.
So
Because they can like control it.
Yeah, because they
Is
can
that what
control
you're
it.
saying? Okay.
Yeah, you could see the hash power dropped a huge amount during that time. But what ended up happening is the hash power just diversified across the different geographically. Like people from China moved to, I think, Kazakhstan, and there's been a lot of movements to the U.S. as well to crypto mine. So people it didn't really matter, and the miners moved where the people were friendly to Bitcoin, and it did get attacked basically, but people were kind of paranoid about that for a while. And you can see the price that was during a huge drop. Back in 2021, it was at like 60,000, and then it dropped an enormous amount due to the news of the China ban, and then it rose back, and as the hash power gained again, and people felt better about it. Here's another good graph. This shows the historical distribution of hash power. This was like in 2020. You can see it's like 65% China, and there's like 7% US. Here's another good graph. This shows when they banned it right there. See all that power? Then boom, the U.S. took a bunch. Russia took a little bit, and some others took some more. But the U.S. has really been the big beneficiary from that.
Yeah, it looks like they took a big chunk of it.
Yeah, there's actually a Bitcoin mining company that's starting in Spartanburg, by the way. I didn't know if you knew that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's actually a good thing, I think, to be honest. But it's pretty significant because it shows how the power matters, and it also, I think it shows the resiliency of the network as well, the way it was able to change like over the course of a year into a totally different geographical setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of cool. This just kind of sums up where we're at today. The push is still, I think, the Bitcoin is a store of value, and it acts as digital gold, not as a digital currency, which is more of the idea today. Digital energy, you know. I think the store of value narrative is much more appealing from an investment standpoint, because I think remember when we were younger, we heard about it. It was like, who cares? It's internet money. Who cares? We have PayPal and shit.
Yeah.
It's not that appealing. Like, it doesn't really matter that much for us. But there's people in other countries that don't have banks, that don't have PayPal and that sort of thing. So,
right, we didn't understand the implications.
It's much more beneficial to those who lack sophisticated banking systems. For the U.S., it wasn't that big of a deal. The Lightning Network still makes it much more usable as a currency, so that you can still build on top of the main Bitcoin network. So that's the cool thing about it. Exchanges are much safer, more regulated, so it's nothing like the past. Cold storage is still there if you feel led to and you feel paranoid about it. Hash rate has recovered, and no ban will stop Bitcoin unless there is a total... The only thing I think of is like if there's like a ban orchestrated by the world, and even then I'm not even totally sure that would destroy it. You know,
I think there'd still be like underground people doing it.
I guess if you eliminated the internet, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, then you're looking at a completely different society, you know.
I mean, you have to go back to the Stone Ages. The interesting thing is, even if the whole Bitcoin network went offline, like somehow it was able to go offline, as long as the internet came back at some point, you'd be able to transfer Bitcoins around.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of cool, I think. How do you like this picture?
That's awesome.
The Bitcoin network has shown resiliency, and I think the future is bright. That's just my last, I guess, point of my last fault. I guess, what do you think about, after hearing about it in 2013 and then hearing about it again in 2017, what do you think about it now? How has your perception of Bitcoin changed over the years?
So, my perception in 2013 was, you know, it was like a scam. And then my perception in 2017 was, okay, it's not a scam, but it's insanely risky. You're crazy if you do it.
Yeah. And
then now it's, well, this is actually seems like a decent idea, you know.
Right, and I think that just shows that it's matured. Because there was a lot of shit that was, I mean, buying into it back then was not a wise decision, in my opinion. Because there was no proof that this shit was going to work. And there was all those scandals, you know, exchanges stealing your money, you know, the black market stuff. It was weird back then. Like, it was totally understandable not to buy it back then. But even in 2017, it was like it shot up and then it shot down, and you don't really understand it. And it's like the most bizarre thing. But I think it just shows, I guess, the asset maturing. And for those who were ballsy enough to buy it back then, they should get rewarded because they took more risk.
Yeah.
I wasn't willing to take the risk back then.
No.
I mean, I wish I did, but oh well, that's how it goes.
Everybody's got to get on the train at some point.
I mean, I still think it's got a lot of room to grow. I mean, if it does, like I was saying in that slideshow a couple weeks ago, I mean, that'd be nice. But I kind of doubt it.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I wanted to show my website real quick. Okay, so at my website, CryptoIRLFTW.com, Crypto in Real Life, you can get different shirts and different merchandise related to crypto and interesting things. Lots of different merchandise, Dogecoin stuff, Bitcoin stuff. Let me show you this one shirt. It's taking it a minute to load. There it goes. So I got this one shirt for sale. If you're familiar with Michael Saylor, he's kind of the crazy guy who talks about Bitcoin all the time. Clint actually painted his picture, put laser eyes to him, and I put Bitcoin's digital energy. I'm wearing it now. If you're interested, you should buy it from my website.
Badass.
I think it's funny as shit. Like he's a walking meme, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, just check out my website if you have a chance to. Anything else, Clint? Or I think we're about done.
Nah, I'm good. Enjoy talking with you.
All right, Egan. We'll talk to y'all next week. Bye bye.